So who's your punter and punt returner?
Punter and punt returner? I think we all kind of know who that is at this point. Only a few people on the roster that can punt and punt return, so we obviously know that's our situation.
You lost so many guys, obviously Sean and Zach with the injuries. Kayvon was a key guy. Nakobe now a starter. I assume he won't be playing as much. Who do you lean on as your kind of core group now with so many changes in the roster?
Yeah, it's more of it definitely brings that excitement on who going to, unveil themselves as those core guys. Obviously you have, the Christian Ellis's from last year who played a big part. Lean on him. Patrick Johnson's been here for a few years. But again, a lot of these young guys, I know there's a lot of excitement around Sidney Brown. He did some really good things in training camp. But there's a lot of people that we were able to throw in there and see what they can do. Obviously, you got these younger guys, the Keely Ringos and Nolan Smith, kind of those freakish athletes that you want to see out there and perform at a high level. So I'm actually very excited to see who unveils himself to be those core guys, because it's going to be important for us to lean on those guys. But this group, especially the veterans that do play offense and defense, they do a great job in meetings kind of helping these younger guys out, kind of catch them up going forward.
Nolan Smith has spoken to us about how much he enjoys special teams. You might not usually expect in the first-round pick. What is it about him that you think could fit in that role?
I think it's just his love for the game, really. He just wants to help the team out in any way possible, whether that's on defense or on special teams, the willingness to go out there and perform at a high level, which we all appreciate, especially myself, because we are going to have to lean on him to help us out in the special teams aspect of the game. So it's always great to have young guys that are willing to go out there and, do some of the early hefty lifting on special teams. But the great part, like I said, is, on our roster, you had guys that had done it before they made their splash in offense and defense. For example, Hassan Reddick did it in Arizona, Terrell Edmonds, guys that had done it before. So there's guys, BG, so guys that are ahead of them, they kind of paved the way for starting off on special teams and doing offense and defense.
When it comes to punter, how much do you factor in Jake's comfort with the operation? Obviously, he's gotten very comfortable with Aaron as the holder. It's not the main part of the job, but it's part of the job.
Correct. Just getting, like Brian kind of alluded to, getting the input from the guys in terms of some decisions that are made are always taken into consideration. But after the last couple of years, the comfortability from the operation has been pretty good, and it showed. And we're obviously trying to just put the best guys out there to make an impact on the game. And we all know the kicking game is huge, and we've been able to get a lot of points out of that operation.
Michael, how difficult is it to get everybody in sync early in the season when during the preseason you have a lot of combinations, a lot of fourth guys, third guys, third string guys. Now you have set special teams.
Yeah, it's more of just everyone just being in the communication of the whole thing. Outside of the games where guys didn't actually play on special teams, in our practices, we kind of molded it where there's different combinations that may be set for this week. So it's just them getting in sync in the communication aspect of the whole thing. And once again, just keeping it as simple as possible for them so they could play fast, not think too much going forward in these early weeks of the season.
When you bring in the punters for workouts from outside, what are you evaluating in person versus what you've seen on film from them in the preseason? What matters? Yeah,
it's always good to see guys in person. There's just different aspects that you see that you probably can't really see on the film. Obviously, you see, on the film the game-like situations, but there's also, different aspects. A guy may be coming from a different area where there's no wind. Where you come out here, now you can see them a little windy on midday, so you can kind of see how they're doing into the wind with the wind. So it's just nice to see guys in real life outside of the film. Then you get to see, their hands a lot more up close when we're doing some holding, molding, things of that nature.
Bill Belichick teams have always had great special teams units. Why is that?
Shoot, good players and good coaches. They've always been on top of a lot of different situations, trying to find the edge in the special teams. And, great respect for Bill, Cam, Joe Judge out there. They've been doing it for a long time at a very high level. So just utmost respect for them. We just got to be able to compete with them in terms of being dialed in on any situation that may occur. And Coach Sirianni does a great job putting us in those situations to us get familiar and be ready for that.
When it comes to
season around the league, offer any clues on how the new kickoff rules will affect the way things approach it?
I don't think so. There's so many different aspects. I know a lot of guys are trying to see, guys return it, guys can block. So if they can cover on kickoff, so I don't know if the preseason was much of a preview on what could happen in the regular season, but we always got to be ready for any situation.
When it comes to Gunners,
pretty enthusiastic about his role on special teams. How often do you see that from guys that are capped as high as he was?
You know what? I think it's tough to say in terms of, because everyone's a different case. It's just, I think that's just who Nolan is. Like, he just loves football, regardless of his defense, special teams. And like I said, it's always nice to have a young guy that's willing and has all that energy and just wants to learn and get better through the special teams process. So having him on our side and just asking him to be him is all we can ask going forward.
When it comes to Gunners, you have a big test this week, obviously, with Marcus, but Josh has done it. You mentioned some of the athleticism with guys like Sidney and Ringo. Does it take more than athleticism, or you just try to get those guys on the outside to try to?
Yeah, it helps if you're a super athlete, obviously. But there is some tools that, coming from the college game where everyone's kind of just lined up and everyone's free release, and there is some tools that we try to help these guys out, getting off a double vice, guys stacking left and right. How do you play this? How do you play that? So we do try to help them with the tools of getting out there and, defeating it. Some guys are great technicians. Zach McPherson was a great technician to get off the line of scrimmage. And just trying to, and having him around early on and teaching those young guys, and Tyler Brown does a great job, during practice, after practice, of working techniques, watching film from, the peers around the league, what's some things that a dominant gunner is doing, how can we implement that and add it to their toolbox. So, a lot of the times if you've got a guy that can run fast and is strong, obviously that's going to be great to be out there, but there is some technicalities that you got to teach these guys, get off a line of scrimmage, get off a jam, rules and different things of that nature. So there does stuff goes into gunner play that, outside of the height, weight, and speed.
After a tough finish to last season, what went into the process of having Aaron be the week one punter this year?
Yeah, there was always, competition was always great. Him just coming in day out and just trying to get better each and day, which, we're gonna feel going into week one, putting him out there, the comfortability, just making him as comfortable as possible to get out there. We're all just trying to get the best foot forward to help this team out. Week one in New England, gonna be a challenge, but we're really looking forward to this.
Both the kicker and the punter are rookies playing in their first NFL game. Are there things that you could do to take advantage of their inexperience?
We're going to try and, don't want to get too much into what our game plan is for those guys, but we're going to just, put as much effort into our game plan to get, everyone on cue to make sure that, without getting too much into the game plan, we're going to be on our P's and Q's and get after it a little bit today in practice, obviously, then our walkthrough tomorrow for special teams.
Aaron had said that one of the main things he struggled with last year was rushing, and particularly in pressure situations. How do you help him through that? How does he improve upon that?
Yeah, it's more of the protection on the inside, making sure we have a clear pocket for Aaron to feel comfortable in that, and for him, just his operation time is a little bit above average for him, knowing that he's got a fast operation time, not to be too fast, not to overstride or stuff of that nature when it comes to his drop or his mold, and to stay within himself in terms of that. So just really, and he's focused on that since, the off season and this training camp thus far and going into week one. So it's just one of those things, just, sinking to his level of fundamentals.
After working out several punters, what made him the best option?
There just goes a lot, goes into it. Howie and Nick do a great job, and, always looking over possibilities in terms of getting this team better. But, there's a lot of things that go into it, operation punting, operation time during punts, all that stuff. So it's just one of those things where we're going to feel confident going to week one and keeping it simple.
We'll do Mark.
Nakobe was like a big part of your special teams last year, obviously. Now that he's going to be, every down linebacker, how do you kind of manage that this season with him?
Yeah, Nakobe's great to have, especially in the meeting room. Everyone alludes to Nolan being a rookie, that Georgia connection and him talking about it, his first year, how it was, what to expect as a rookie. But Nakobe's so cerebral that he's going to just, help out anybody, whether it's a punt pro, punt return techniques, things of that nature, kickoff coverage. So having Nakobe, glad that, he's getting his opportunity on defense and, being able to talk to these young guys on special teams.